Hey guys, we're headed to Paul's house. We're gonna see what he's done to the 240 this week. So buckle up, put it in gear. Let's get this show on the road. All right, we're back here at Paul's. Car's here, the boat's here. When it rains outside, he brings the boat in. Imagine that, it's made to get wet, but he brings it in when it rains.
Only wet on the bottom.
Yeah, I guess you don't want water in it, just on the outside. So he's got a lot done. I haven't looked at the car. I've seen some things in the back that I don't want to get into until we turn the camera on. So here it is. It's looking great. First thing I want to ask, this is a gray color. I thought they were black. Is that stock?
Very close to stock. The original color is a little bit lighter silver than this.
Really?
This is close enough.
I thought satin black.
No, they weren't. My Z, my old 280 was satin black because I had no idea. I just painted it that color, but this is a really close graphite. The original color was slightly, very slightly brighter, I guess you'd say, than this.
And this is the same color as the grill, correct?
Yes. Yeah, and the hubcaps on this particular car.
Okay. When the hubcap wheels are on, what color is the steel part of the wheel?
Black.
Black?
Black.
Just great.
The wheels are gloss black. The hubcap is this color with chrome, much like this little rim.
Yeah.
That's on the, I don't know, kidney bean looking things of the hubcap.
Gotcha. So we did, and some people might notice, you talked about putting the one with the chrome trim around it. Did that plan fall through, or is it?
No, that's it.
That's the one.
That's the chrome trim.
I can't tell.
Yeah,
oh, there we go.
It's a really narrow chrome trim that the ones I have on the floor over there do not have, and it's just a little accent piece that got removed off those others.
I guess with that color being so, and I guess it's kind of reflecting the boat.
It'll show better outside, I think, because it'll brighten this up. So
yeah, definitely. From here, I can't tell at all. But I see you've got your wiring here, so your harness is in, full body harness is in?
Not the engine bay. It's the body. The interior is in. This piece here runs up to the dome light, but it goes under the plastic panels. So I'm basically going to tape this up and around, and then put the panels in over it. There's nothing to hold that. It goes up to the front and connects to the dashboard wiring. So.
Nice. Also, what are these nibs?
Okay, so those are push pin rivets. They spread out when you hammer these in. I haven't put them in yet because I don't fully trust myself and know that I'm finished here. As soon as I do that, then I'll just tap these down and they go flush and just leave a little bump.
And then they're kind of permanent. You got to drill it to get it out?
No, what you can do is you take a little 1/8 punch and actually punch them all the way through. And if you can find these little pieces when they fall through and don't fly across your shop, then you can reuse them, stick them back in the top and hammer them in again. If you do lose them, these are very expensive. These are like $1.25 a rivet. So I spent like $70 on just these stupid little body rivets. But you can buy this extruded black plastic from McMaster-Carr. This is what Fred did. He bought 5 feet of it or something and just cut little pieces off and used those to get the rivets back expanded.
Nice, nice. I see the dashboard is in.
It is. That was kind of, we were looking for something to do the other night, and myself and Cliff just put it in. It's basically mocked up because I do have to take it back out to put in the pedal box. But you could put the pedal box in with the dashboard in, but it's a way more huge pain in the butt. So it's kind of just sitting here to kind of see where everything fit. And I also wanted to see where, obviously you'd never see it in the camera, but up under here where the heater hoses connect is really tight. But I wanted to make sure that I could get to those connections before putting the dash in. And you can, it's not too bad.
As you saw in the last episode, there was a part here that Mitch was sanding in the paint booth after the first coat was on. You want to explain what was going on there, Paul? Because we can't even see that anymore. It's just perfect.
What happened was, as we were doing the paint work here, we realized that for whatever reason, there's a thousand things to see as you're doing a paint job. We had a couple of sanding scratches still right here in the body filler. And so we just took a little tiny block, you saw it in the video, and just kind of scratched it and smoothed it down, and then I put 2 coats of base coat on it, and then 3 coats of clear, and never to be seen again.
Yeah,
it's disappeared.
And the side that you did all the body work on, in the last video, you can see that light just kind of go across that body line just like it is right there, and there are no humps in it. It is a straight body line. It looks exactly like the other side. Yeah,
when it was in primer, we did actually have a hump right here, so I was able to cut that down. I talked about that, and it worked. It came out okay.
Now, I remember on your 77, there was like a little flap that came out here, I guess, to keep splash off the paint. Is that on this car as well?
It's ordered.
It's ordered? Okay.
Along with a stupid amount of other things. I keep making these orders and then putting all these parts on, and then realize, oh man, I don't have a grommet here. Or these little things right here, these little bumpers, are also under each door handle on the interior. When you let go of the door handle so it doesn't go snap, it like just goes bump on a little rubber. I need 2 more.
Yeah.
You know, things like that. And so if I was just ordering these 2 things for the door handles, it would be like $4 for the part and $7 shipping. So I have to make big enough orders that the shipping makes it worthwhile.
I see you've got your stainless on, and honestly, I didn't know it was a frame. I didn't know it was like part of the door. I thought it was just like a window trim, but I mean, it's part of the door.
It bolts in as a structural piece, and has the felt channel inside of it. All of this was removed. The car was bare, and so all of this was taken on the wheel, the buffing wheel, and buffed out to as shiny as I can get it. I mean, it came out pretty nice. These pieces, the rain gutters, were also stainless, and I polished those and installed them. These are completely fully installed now. The little quarter windows are screwed in, polished, installed with new gaskets. So that is done. That's a done piece.
It looks really nice, and I guess you're leaving the sticker on.
I actually put the sticker on.
Oh, you did?
It's a copy of an original. The last thing that happened to these cars before they came to the United States was a Japanese dude would slap that OK sticker on after he checked the car out, ran it, made sure that everything worked, and he would say, "This is cool, OK," and send it out the door.
I don't think he said it in English, though.
He did not.
No.
I have to, because I don't know Japanese, but he said, whatever you say in Japanese for that sentence.
How do these go on? Or how do they stay on?
Very difficult. It's a kind of a pain, and scary because you're working around your fresh paint. So I put tape way too far. I don't want this thing flipping around and nicking the paint. But you basically start them at the bottom and roll them into place. Problem is, this is straight and this is straight, but right. This has this hard curve here, so it puts a lot of bind on it. So what I had to do was start it down at both ends, work it to about right here, and then I had to take a hammer with a rag, a soft plastic hammer, but still, and sort of tap it until I felt it snap, and It finally fell in place.
That's got to be anxiety level way up.
All this trim stuff is super nerve-wracking because you never know if you're gonna slip and scratch the paint, or that's why you have to take the precautions like the tape.
I also saw in the door you had some kind of badging, right? Like a data plate kind of thing.
Inside the door is the actual build date. That's the only place that the build date is on the car. This shows you your engine and chassis number. Chassis number's right there on the firewall in that little crazy font. And then the chassis number is on the dashboard, which is the VIN chassis number. The inside the door shows the chassis number, but it's the one place that shows that the car was built in 8 of 71.
And that is the original. You got that off
This
of the
piece
car.
is, yeah, this is correct. The one under the dash, we've talked about it before. It's
under the hood?
yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, under the hood. It the only difference is I changed the engine number to match the engine that's in it. Just to fake like I had a matching numbers car. And really, that's the only way you can tell. You look at that number, and that number right there shows you your color number. These cars were not serialized and did not have a build sheet or a, what do you call that, birth certificate. They just came off the line, and whatever color it was, they stuck a sticker on it.
So I own a 2011 Corvette Grand Sport, and you can get from the Corvette factory, you can get who built the car, what time of day it was, how much he torqued that bolt to, when he went to the bathroom, how much coffee he had. Like, you can find out everything about that.
What kind of coffee?
What you could I'll find out. I'll get what kind of brand coffee.
Yeah, I'd like to know. I mean,
I'll know in the next episode.
Interesting.
But on these, and back in the day, there was nothing.
You know, American cars were more build sheet or birth certificate type cars. Like even Chrysler's had it all stamped right on a data plate under the hood. You could tell the trim, the engine, the paint code.
And then, so the old Mopars actually, if they were highly optioned, they had 2 data plates.
Yep.
Because they'd run out of room on one of them.
Yep, exactly. They were literally riveted to the body like that, but they were all stamped with, if you can, and many people can, read the code, and it's also probably online or whatever, but yes, it was literally every option, every feature that was on that particular car. Telltale.
Yeah, but not on these.
No, this is pretty basic. They didn't even know if these things would sell, pretty much. So they just threw them out the door, and the engine number was documented by that plate, but the color number and stuff was just whatever. I mean, it was just a sticker.
So you guys see all these little tabs in here. These are actually for the harness. Harness lays in there, and you kind of just bend them closed, and that's what holds it in place. Once you bend those, does the paint kind of stick on it, or does it kind of flake?
It'll flex for a while. I mean, it'll probably get hard later and crack if you bend it later, but right now I think you could bend them and it'd be fine.
Yeah.
And if it does crack, I mean, it's whatever. It would have done the same thing at the factory. It wasn't particular.
Yeah, but I mean, imagine opening this hood, and you're going to see that blue engine block and that orange air cleaner and all these colors right here. I can see it already. It's going to be amazing.
With the silver of the aluminum parts and things like that, it should really have a good contrast of colors. Black radiator. I'm trying to get everything as close to, like as close to or actually better than if you open the hood on a brand new one.
Yeah. I'm going to tell you, and Chris, you might be mad at me. Chris is his brother. I just left his house to come here, actually, and Chris hates this color.
Yeah, we know that. We ask me if I care.
Chris, we don't care.
No, it was a rare color because most people don't choose a wild color. They sold a lot of brown ones. I know we talk about brown a lot on this show and how bad it is of a color for a sports car, but people probably pick brown more than this, truthfully.
Yeah, and that's a bad mistake. Good for you because they're more rare. Right. But that one that we showed in the picture, his blueprint, it's actually for sale right now for $51,000. Did you see that?
I did. Yeah.
Wow. I'm sure it's a perfect car, though.
That's a rare bird to find one that is so perfect and so exactly either restored or, I mean, if you go look at that car, it's going to have literally the right I put stainless steel fasteners on some of these door hinges and things. Nope. You can't do that. You can't improve it even.
Right.
It has to be the original, even if it's a lesser quality fastener. It has to be an original zinc-plated properly marked fastener for that kind of car, that kind of money.
Right, yeah, that kind of money, yeah. But not for this one. This one's gonna be a driver. You're gonna drive it.
We're just gonna drive it. I mean, of course it'll be built to, as high quality as I can, but I'm not worried about those being the incorrect fasteners. I just bought a fastener kit, and these are stainless. Better, but not perfectly correct.
And I see you've got some of the rubber on, you've got your weather stripping on. We were talking about how thick it is now.
Yeah, the original weather stripping would not have had the spring welting on it. The original door molding or gasket would have had been glued on, kind of like this is. This piece here was just contact cemented and glued in place. Well, these would have been the same way. So having this spring-loaded metal welting, you have to kind of exercise these. Like for a while, you have to slam them to the first click and kind of drive it like that for a while. Let it sit in the sun a while, and then before long, you can actually close the door. Does it seal better? For sure, it's going to be pretty tight, but it's a little harder to close at first.
Now, we also talked about sound deadening in the later cars and how, all the things they did made the car heavier. It wasn't just sound deadening that made it heavier, but that was a part of it. This is a different product than they used. All the Rockville, I guess we can call it Dynamat style Rockville.
It's kind of the generic term for sound deadening because it was the first, I guess.
Right.
Probably the most
but
popular.
I mean, as far as weight additive of what you've done on the car, it can't be more than 5-10 pounds.
Maybe let's call it 20 and be crazy. Maybe 20 pounds. It weighs about what a 30 pack of beer would weigh.
Yeah, 30 pack. That's very specific.
Yeah, it's a little heavier than a 12 pack. I mean, I picked up both, and so yeah.
Paul went look at the parts car we talked about in the last episode, and he's got a little story about that.
So the car was more rusty than I wanted to spend the amount for, but that's aside. What's kind of cool is this car was built in 8 of 71. At the time that these cars were built, they were making improvements constantly. Things like we talked about in an earlier episode, one of these is fiberglass, one is metal, because in the beginning they couldn't figure out how to make this complex bend out of sheet metal, so they made them out of fiberglass, but maybe that was more expensive or whatever. For whatever reason, they wanted them in metal. The new ones were steel, and they had welds in certain spots. Anyway, that's just to say that they were changing these cars at a rapid pace. So rapid that this car was built in 8 of 71. The car I went look at yesterday was a 9 of 71. 1 month different. It had, oddly, the same dash. It had a 71 dash, but it had the console, center console of 72 in it. The seats in this car had almost no reclining mechanism. They went about 5 degrees, barely any recline with a little wheel. In 8, this car would have had the wheel. 9 of 71, they had the reclining full lever seats. It was like they used up what they had until there were no more, and then, okay, well, till we run out of these dashes, we're gonna use these. And then in later 72, the dash changed. Not the dash, but the center part. So it was kind of weird to see this car that was kind of a partial transition. But Nissan did that a lot on these. The 260, early 260, was basically a 240. It had the same front turn signals, the same. Oh, the bumpers. The bumpers were the same, but it had these overriders, these rubber blocks on them. So just crazy how in only, let's see, they made this car from 1970 to 78. So in 8 years of production, the changes between them was just rapid. It's cool to see.
So I know nowadays when you buy a car in October, it's a next year model year.
Yes.
Is that how it was back then?
Yeah, the 9 of 71 car I looked at yesterday was titled as a 72.
Okay.
So that's exactly right.
Now, you may not know this, and it's just a general question. When a car is built that late, or let's just say when a car is built, let's say this one the 8th month, when do you think that car is actually in a dealership in America?
I think they put them right on boats. I really do. I think they came out of the factory and like literally had a ramp to a parking lot and then on the boat. So probably a month.
Okay, that's not too bad.
I think.
Yeah.
I mean, I would guess because this car would have been in the dealership in 71 as a 71. The next, I mean, this was toward the end of the year, getting there. The 9 of 71 was probably in the dealership also, but labeled as, hey, the next year models are here.
Right.
You know, like kind of thing. I'm thinking.
Right. And I know in 69, the I don't know the Japanese guy's name. They call him the father of the Z. What's his name?
Mr. K. Kaneyama.
Right. So he came to America, and as they were getting off the boat and lined up, he took the Fair Lady badges off, right?
This is very early in production. He knew that Americans wouldn't buy a car called a Fair Lady.
Yeah.
That sounds weak. So he was putting on 240Z. There was no 260Z in Japan either, at all.
Oh, really?
They didn't even do that transition because everything we transitioned here was for regulations, and I think they needed to get the 280 out to get more horsepower with all the gutting of the horsepower from emissions. Anyway, Mr. K said, no, we can't sell a car named Fair Lady, so he rushed to the port and put 240Z badges on all these cars.
Himself. Like, can you imagine in today's world, in 2024, some car executive changing badges in a parking lot because he cared about the car?
Cared about the company, cared about, Americans wanting to buy it. Knew Americans and knew their mentality, our mentality. And he said, no, they're not going to buy a Fair Lady.
Yeah.
I mean, now I want a Fair Lady. I would love a right-hand drive. But it was a different time. It was
way different time.
That post-war, like, we need to get in this market kind of thing. And it was a frantic rush to try to get these cars sold here.
I mean, in 71, you were already 13 years old.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Inside joke. Paul and I are in a band together, and there's five of us, and he's the oldest one by 2 years, maybe. I don't even know.
I don't know how old Avery is, but anyway, yeah.
But we joke that he's a senior citizen.
Right. Practically. I can't wait for that discount, though. Man, that's going to be awesome. Like Waffle House, boom, senior discount.
All right, so that ends it for this episode. The car's coming along nicely. Actually, when I walked up, there was more done to it than I thought, and I know how fast Paul works, and there was still more than I thought. So next episode, he might be driving it down the street. We really don't know. Until then, just drive it.